for Hansama.
Going to swap up the matchup. Would not be surprising if BLG just end up going for the Jinx here. Is, even without the Lulu, still very strong pick on the main AD carries at the moment. The range advantage is something.
Oh,
okay.
Come on, Lucian, Nami, throw it down. I will say, huge kudos to the analyst desk, as well as like obviously a lot of people watching around the world. We talked about what is the answer. How do you deal with the Aphelios and the Lulu? Now with the Lucian Nami locked in, I will tell you this now. Dracos is sitting somewhere fuming, wondering, because LEC as a region has struggled, first of all, to execute this pick, but also to play into it at times as well.
But look, I'm going to be honest, when Elk and On have just been absolutely destroying Hansam and Mickey in lane, just going back towards something that's even harder at that is just going to be absolutely fantastic for BLG. And I think that's where you're seeing, I was going to say what the answer is going to be with the Aphelios. I thought they might go for the Thresh, but it's actually going to be the Braum. They just want to make sure they can try and survive this somehow, but there's going to be so much poke that can come through so quickly from Elk and On to that bot side.
Oh yeah, and even though the Braum will be able to keep you alive, it's going to give you next to no agency in lane. Yeah. Jungle ganks and setup and skirmish and notwithstanding, it's going to mean that Elk and On are going to have the priority from basically the get-go here, as Ksante is going to get locked in. I do like that. Very, very strong flex pick that has hit a lot of the second rotation bans.
And while the bottom lane may have a very tough time here for G2 Esports, what we have seen across all three previous games is that the bottom lane performance, even when falling behind, has not actually been the primarily defining characteristic of these games. I do think it's going to be way harder this time around, please don't get me wrong, especially because Gwen, who's found herself in the ban pool phase 2 a lot, is now also locked in for bid.
The thing is though, this is an answer into the Ksante, but it doesn't guarantee the Ksante is going top, right? So you can actually flex this into mid lane here for caps and have Broken Blade now get the counter pick in that top side. So I'm actually curious exactly what the plan is, because even when you're looking at it, BLG, they're still banning away some of these more mid lane oriented picks, except for Broken Blade's Cassiopeia, which also is a thing.
Yeah, exactly.
I was actually about to say that's a really interesting read from BLG, because they're basically saying we know that it might not be top Ksante, we're still banning Cassio, but they also picked the Gwen, so leaves me wondering whether they want to just match the Gwen wherever the Ksante ends up going, as the Ahri will get taken away. Makes complete sense, because Yagao, even in that last game, right, the final fight, able to get on top of Hans, hit the charm, was a really big part of what made the team fights from BLG so lethal.
I think as well, if you're trying to flex this Ksante into mid lane, the ability for the Ahri, look, she won't kill the Ksante at any point in time, but at least being able to get good roams off and making sure that it's very uncomfortable, I think is going to be a good one. The Yasuo respect ban is not what I expect to see after that game one.
The crazy thing is that's both Yasuo and Cassio that could be both mid and top. Only maybe more specifically for a team like G2 Esports. Obviously with that Ahri banned away as well, we need to find out what this next lock-in will be. And let's talk about the jungle pool for a little bit. Sejuani still open and available. The Vi and the Maokai have been removed. Sion will be the final ban here from G2 Esports. So as we move into phase 2 picks, BLG 1 would assume the jungle pick comes in now. Wait to see what's more likely for those solo lane options. And if that Nidalee is being hovered, please tell me why we're a little nervous about it. Maybe not, because it may end up being the Viego. Dagda, what direction do you think you prefer to see?
I definitely don't want the Nidalee in this regard. You have some long-range poke with the Culling, but that's kind of it. You don't really have great setup, so he's just going to go across towards the Viego. And I think here, you're kind of going right. Like, Yagao is definitely going to take something like a Lissandra or something along these lines in the mid lane and trying to set up for this strong 2v2 in the mid jungle. But again, you can just flex caps in towards the mid lane on this Ksante, and now you're going to be in a pretty fine spot. Like, you're not going to be worried about a lot of the CC of it set up, because Ksante has a ton of dashes, the ability to hop away, and there you go. They're actually going to swap. Well, again, keep that flexibility open with the Gragas now locked in, but actually both of them now not so hot. Okay, I was going to say it's the Gwen, so they take the Jayce.
So that's going to assume what? Gragas in the jungle, then Ksante, Jayce, we figure out mid or top, depending on whatever Yagao's going to be running in the mid lane. One thing I will highlight, with a Lucian Nami into an Aphelios, a Ksante, potentially Jayce, one would assume BLG may want to be looking to hit that gas pedal, go quick, win it earlier on in the stages. So I want to see what mid lane they lock in. It will be the Lissandra now.
Yeah, you're just going all out on early to mid game fights and tempo, right? The amount of snowballing potential that you have with Lucian Nami on Guildford Mandate Spike, and just even the core of Viego and Lissandra as a combo is so insanely strong. If you're able to single out someone, hit a stun, have the Lissandra setup, blow them up, and you start a combination of the Lissandra Frost combined with the Viego resets, add to that the explosive power of Lucian Nami, and this composition works very well. On the flip side, if you start losing early, it does become very hard, I think, to play into G2.
And that's the thing, I think you have options here as G2 to try and play for those early wins, especially when you look at Broken Blade in this top side. We've seen G2 every single game in this series so far give resources towards that top side. If you're now able to get those onto a Jayce, you have a lot of poke damage that can try and come through before these fights start off onto Yagao and Elk, and just make it very uncomfortable.
Any influence on what you think about the matchups, obviously, because there was that flex potential?
Tough one for me. The main thing that I do like for G2 specifically is that the early power of Braum, Ksante, and Gragas can win you a lot of skirmishes, right? And I think if the early skirmishes do go the way of G2, they are in a really, really good position, because outside of the Gwen, to me, the BLG comp does really fall apart if you're unable to get it going early. And it doesn't have to be like in the first 10 minutes, but about 15, 20 minutes, if you're not taking down turrets and pushing tempo leads, the comp will really struggle.
It's also a case of, as you try and set up for these skirmishes, you're like, Yagao wants to be in the thick of things, but as he goes in, it's very easy for Yike to just throw a cask into the backline and just disrupt all of that follow-up, because BLG very much are a team that want to very quickly engage, all turn as one, all get in on top of it, and just having the amount of disruption that G2 does, hell, even caps with the all-out as well, it's actually going to make these fights relatively difficult for BLG with the amount of peel that G2 have on their side.
Also want to highlight that between Braum and Ksante, the amount of like plays that you can stop that in their tracks, like
stop that.
It's like, no, I don't want to. I'm not part of this. I'm not partaking, and it is something that
Oh, I clenched so much. That W, as well as the Q thrown out from Lucian and Nami respectively. Mickey steps away. I think ultimately, obviously, you want to get a little bit more of those combos together. Get that Tidecaller's Blessing on. That combo to Lucian's passive burns through people. I am nervous about what Hansama and Mickey are going to do, because they have been bullied by Elk and On all throughout the series.
And that's the thing that we have been, I think, is the big winning grace here for BLG, is the fact they can control bot lane here.
Wow, look at this. Early level 1 trade. Good advantage to Hansama and Mickey, at least burning down On for now. Still got a number of consumables, also no cold for Elk, this time in a different matchup. Hansama, however, gets chunked out. He's down to 300 hit points, and level 2, the race is on.
Important to note, as observers were showing, Cap's actually rotating towards the top side to still match Yagao. Obviously, you want to play the Ksante into Lissandra, can negate a lot of the plays. So BLG is denied the play that they're looking for is Yike. Maybe an early play bot side here.
Oh, we're holding our breath. Observers toggle the vision. They don't know that he's there. The step forward forces the flash. The dash comes out from Elk, with the Tidecaller's Blessing turning the damage around, and now Elk gets tagged 2 shots and will avoid the stun. Okay, advantage to get both the heal and the flash away from On. Is that going to be enough to slow down the threat, slow down the pressure of that Lucian Nami into the Aphelios Braum?
I definitely think it will. The fact that you can, as now Mickey, just flash onto the Nami and start to hit her down, no flash, no heal either, that could be the way to try and turn the bot lane, but you're starting to hit that very strong point as Elk, which is the level 3 for this bot lane. On has burned through a lot of mana, so maybe you can try and keep a lot of this bot lane in check, but you can even see if Elk is actually jumping onto Hansama when you're trying to go for On, it could be a disaster.
Look at Shun, stepping his way forward, will be inside the vision for G2. The Aqua Prison's available. Unbreakable comes up. Oh, Heartbreaker forward. Mickey forced to flash away. Ticking, burning. Mickey somehow stays alive. I held my breath when Shun was charging that Blade of the Ruined King. And somehow Mickey escapes, but now no summoners whatsoever for BLG. Hansama holding on to his too. And so far, even in actual fact, a small CS advantage for Hansama.
And the fact that you actually burn everything on Elk and he nearly dies as well means that you actually get to stick around here as Hansama, so he doesn't reset, will get to push the wave out, get a nicer back timing, and you can set up for something as well if Yike comes down.
All right, Caps trading there into Yagao, putting a lot of damage onto him. He needs the glacial path away. Hansama will be the target. Forced to cleanse already, down to 100, and with the minions helping out, lose just 1 summoner spell.
Big win there for BLG. You can see the idea from Hansama was, I need to crash this wave, I have the Infernum, see what I can do, but not able to do so means that Elk and On will catch that massive wave and also be in a position to freeze this away from Hansama and Mickey.
Look at the rotation. Mickey is coming up as well, trying to take down Yagao here.
Yike already showing presence. Helped out in the bottom lane. Body slam. Pushed away. First blood to G2, to Caps and Yike. And they managed to take some plate damage as well.
And Yagao even flashing after the fact, right? Losing his flash, getting taken down. And this is one of the downsides that we see, right? When you rotate people up into a different lane just to try and get the best matchup possible. Yagao getting caught off guard there really messes, I think, with BLG, because now he has to teleport back, means that he can't make an impact on the map, sat behind early, and slowing down this core of Viego and Lissandra is really, really big.
And especially the fact that you end up having control here as Broken Blade in mid lane, because you have that Jayce into Gwen, you continuously push in. Yes, you are able to roam up, but this is something you can continue to do. Even look at where he is in the map at the moment. Just setting up vision down in this river. They really want to make sure they can try and punish Elkin on when they have no summoner spells available. And at the moment, Hansam at least should be able to get this wave just about crashed in.
Oh, that Unbreakable does so much, but obviously the Aqua Prison from On helping out. Now all of a sudden, Alk is pushing this wave back, I think, into the Lucian Namis. This is already a decent enough start for G2 considering how the previous games have gone. Yike, on the other hand, is absolutely showing up, forcing another summoner spell, been forced to flash away from that body slam. Yike has been to all three lanes and has generated advantage in every single one of them.
He needs to get back down into this bot lane, though. You can already see Shun hovering around here, making Hansam. This wave has been in such a terrible spot since that early play that Shun made. So now moving Broken Blade down as well. This is what we're talking about, trying to see if they can burn Elkin on down when they have no sums available.
TP to mid there as well from Yagao, or from Bin rather. So means that, they're going in aggressively here. Elk going back, Shun is on vision, so G2 feels confident here. Should be able to get in the wave as Shun walks up.
That relentless pursuit coming in clutch. Shun will get a target, gets caught out by that Winter's Bite, and we have a pause. A very dramatic pause. Oh, no. Thank you very much, London. We are back in game. It's 7 minutes on the clock. If you have just joined us, thank you for your patience. Thank you for bearing with us. I will say as well, on behalf of me personally, I appreciate that boo when the pause came in was because there was a pause. We're all heated. We want the action to continue. Nobody in London would be booing BLG, right? Right? No, I'm not asking for it, you fools. I'm not asking for it. We're here to cheer and support to play good League of Legends. Importantly, the kill that was secured was not removed. And while we do not have details right now, I want to emphasize, I want to make it clear. Players should and must always pause if they think a bug happens or something goes wrong. That's exactly what happened. And we're now back into the game. Right, let's take stock of this. Cronicler, it is still 2 kills to 0. 1 for Caps, 1 for Hansama, and it's still a small gold lead in favor of G2.
And we are going to have to see BLG actually be able to fight back in some of these skirmishes. This have been mostly individual picks, combined with a nice play on the top side of the map. But this first Herald fight, pivotal for BLG.
Let's see if they're going to be able to achieve much here. G2 already moving in. Mickey's there.
Well, there's the engage. Yagao goes with a glacial path forward. Ring of Frost goes down. Mickey's the first to fall. Kill secured by Shun's Viego. The Herald down to 1,400 hit points. Ons arrive to the fray. The ebb, the flow, the Aqua Prison, and BLG, they pick up the skirmish.
Well, thank you. Very clear answer. BLG was aware of the fact that they needed to win that skirmish, and they did decisively. Yagao does get caught.
He does get caught. Caps goes all out. The Prison throws him in the air, and Yagao escapes with his life. Caps unable to secure that kill, and BLG, they get the 500 gold lead.
Still though, nicely done by Caps, because that is a flash, a heal gone from On, and also a flash from Yagao, so that helps a little bit with making you feel less bad about what just happened, because BLG got the kills on Viego that they so desperately need, and immediately throws down the Herald mid.
All right, very quickly as the engage now goes forward, Elk will be dropped. Hansama and Mickey find that kill. I think I have the briefest of moments. I do want to just have one final update on this. We've got the ruling. At around 6 minutes 40, BLG pause reporting a potential bug impacting On's ability to utilize his biscuits. League officials attempted to resolve the bug through multiple avenues, including the chrono break. The issue is not resolved, but League officials have determined that we will play on. And I do think it is crucial from my perspective. I want to empathize with the players. but I don't think Biscuits have had a tangible impact in what that bottom lane has happened and how things have played out.
Exactly, Shun had overextended, he got caught. Now Elk overextends that bot lane in the 2v1. He ends up going down. Caps, though, doesn't have control over mid. BLG moving down with Bin. They want to try and contest here.
We want to go back to what happened in the previous skirmish. Because of the Elk play bot side, we didn't get to see a replay of it. The initial few seconds are the most important. If BLG get a kill, you are not going to win the fight, right? Especially this early on, you need to make sure that you deny the resets and that neither Yagao nor Shun is able to set up, because otherwise, even with right G2 having Mickey there, you're not going to be able to take it out.
No, and of course, in terms of Mickey and Hansama, this time around, 2 kills up. It's a gold advantage to Hansama on the Aphelios. Those early levels, those early trades, and that early gank from Yike working out. Shun appreciating that and instantly jumping onto Mickey. The Unbreakable buys so much time. Maybe QuickShot does cast a curse that bottom lane. Heartbreak forward. Again, Moonlight Vigil's on cooldown. Cleanse used. Flash needed, yep. Hansama continues to run for his life and holds on to that flash. While all that pressure was happening in the middle lane, Broken Blade on that Jayce, reminder that he lane swapped from earlier on, is continuing to push forward and now will be met by Bin.
You're starting to get control over this bottom side, though, as you can see Elk with those turret plates gonna get his answer back for a lot of what Hansama picked up in the early stages. Still Broken Blade getting pushed in mid, getting shoved, Capped on this top side. It's a lot more about the solo laners here for G2. How much can they do as Caps?
Oh, nicely done, managing to escape. Frozen Prison was locked down, and I think the footwork there helping him get to safety. Manages to stay alive as the wave was cleared out. Caps looking pretty comfortable on this Ksante and applying pressure to BLG.
Importantly as well, as long as Shun isn't there, a lot of the effective gold from BLG isn't there, right? A lot of the power. If, with all 3 kills being on this Ksante, picked up a very early Divine Sunderer as well, G2 still is very much in a position where they can pick fights on the rest of the map. The 2v2 from Aphelios and Braum, as we have already seen, very, very strong. And I am very happy to see G2 keep the pressure here on BLG, because even though BLG won that one skirmish, you know, threw down a Herald, picked up a Drake, it's not enough. They need to, in my opinion, snowball more if they really want to take control of the game.
And of course, will they be able to do it? That's the question. We're 3 minutes from that Drake, 2 minutes from the next Herald. Caps and Yagao have been trading in that top lane. Keeping an eye on the CS numbers as well, still pretty even as far as those solo laners are concerned, despite the movements. You can see there once again, Bin may be able to catch out. No, Caps will be able to complete it. That means Broken Blade on that Jayce continues to pressure forward. Teleport into this bottom lane.
Yeah, they want to try and make a play happen.
Yikes there too, Yikes there too, Dagda.
I don't know if they can get in here, though. This is the thing. They need to try and crash the wave. Shun going to try and match Yike off the side. The TP from Broken Blade as well.
TP top. He's going top. Broken Blade's going to be catching Bin. There's a 3 versus 3 for now, 4 versus 4 potential. The Dragon is up in only 2 minutes time and they're fighting for Scuttle Crab. G2 Esports, they went fishing for an opportunity. They were unable to find one.
They really wanted to try and get the dive onto Elk and on and just massively put the spot lane behind, but they don't get the chance. And then Mickey stepping up does need to back away. There's a lot of damage that can come out from on an Elk, but still G2, you can see finally in these games, they're the ones that are trying to be more proactive in the early stages.
Importantly there as well is that with Caps using the TP, so Yagao switching to the heal, trying to get to the play. As a result, wasn't really able to get any lead in mid. So even though the teleport was invested, didn't end up costing too much in terms of CS or presence on the map.
Listen, this game is definitely as close as it can be. In contrast to many of the previous games, Hansama and Mickey stealing away that Aphelios. The Braum is doing a lot of work. But you have to highlight the back timers. MikyX already picked up here. Elk has got himself that Gale Force. Sitting on those free-ass boots. In comparison, Berserker Scream's Gale Force just picked up a couple seconds ago. So as far as combat power is concerned, a lot of benefits in favor of BLG, and it looks like they might be moving around. There's a lot of lane reassignments this game.
I mean, they're looking at Rift out, right? You just picked up the strongest point for Elk and on, and the BLG want to make sure they can slam that home. Moving towards Broken Blade in this top side.
Blade's the target. Will be caught inside the tomb. Then continues to chase, fires out the needlework. One last frost shot will secure it. And BLG run him down. Broken Blade took a long time to be killed, but that opens up the possibility of this bottom tower. This is a trade of power across the map.
Yeah, with a Broken Blade actually wasting a decent amount of time and BLG needing a little bit more time to actually take him down, Caps is able to get down substantial damage to this turret as long as Yagao arrives in time to make sure that it stays alive. Still not too bad, but if Caps is able to get first turret blood before BLG can use the Herald to crack open the map, that's a really big win for them.
He might be able to do so as well. Yagao just going to be here as the tower falls, so you're not going to be able to get it, but I wouldn't be surprised if he shouldn't take this and immediately try and move into the mid lane to get that middle turret down, make things a little bit easier, open up a long lane for Elk and On to start chasing members down in this mid lane.
With that tower being secured now, there may be even more opportunities to push into BLG jungle. The dragon is spawning. BLG 3 members stacking towards the middle lane. Rift Herald instantly dropped again. That's both of them pretty quickly thrown down and will allow the reposition. Caps is already in the river. Broken Blade used that teleport just a little bit ago. Red White has just timed out before the dragon fight. Yike stepping forward, level 9, goes all out, thrown Heartbreaker away. Shun stays alive, but it's Elk that finds Hansama. G2 Esports are so split up that Elk is able to cull him down. Now Caps in and amongst the fray. The explosive cast comes up, but there's no damage, there's no follow-up, there's no G2 to finish the fight.
You can't fight on these spikes. All BLG want to do at this point in the game is fight you. Try and get a kill, try and start a skirmish. And G2 is saying, yeah, sure, throw everything onto Shun. He's able to flash an ultimate out. And Elk showcasing the lethality of this Lucian Nami.
Oh, so much damage. Unbreakable's buying time. Bin, however, is not done. Mercurial Hammer to the skies. Drops right down, but Broken Blade's the next target. We're playing on the Infernal Rift, and Hansama's been able to respawn, trying to find a target, but BLG, in the blink of an eye, find a 3,000 gold lead.
And now BLG is up 2 Drakes, while having the chance for an Infernal Soul, which obviously, with the Gwen, with the Lucian, you're looking for. And again, everything here starts off with them trying, and if you actually kill Shun, then they might have been fine. But, like, even if they do, with Elk getting Hansama there, like, you're not going to win the fight. You need that damage. And dying up with Flash and Clans shouldn't happen.
Not in a million years. I mean, Gale Force is into a really good ultimate coming through from On as well. Like, you basically are caught between a rock and a hard place. You got the wave one direction, you got a culling coming the other way. You were never going to win out on that. And G2, they take a fight where BLG are happy to have them that split up. And now, as you say, with Dragon in tow, plus this one as well, like, there's no way you're going to get that steal, but they still attempted, and now it's just another kill going over to Bin, who has that Riftmaker now completed.
Yeah, but look at Elk's itemization, Dagda. Straight after that, rapid fire cannon already. But I think the culling and the Gale Force, just the fact that, like, the members of G2 split up, Elk was able to single out Hansama. This is the period of the game where this Viego, Lissandra, Lucian are going to be way more impactful. G2 have to play a little careful. If they get to the 3-4 items, then all of a sudden the scaling can play to their benefit.
It goes back to the conversation we keep having, which is actually utilizing the tools that you have, right? And that's partially on Hans, that's partially on the rest of his team. But with Ksante and a Braum, your Aphelios should never die like that, right? So Lucian is taken down.
Oh, I mean, look at this. Hansama's the target. The culling this time round is blocked by the Unbreakable. The tidal wave, however, sends Hans in the air. The needles are fired, waiting for the snip, snip, snip. Bin can't find him, but the Heartbreaker does. Instant reply, though, as Yike throws up the explosive casket to 1 for 2, and BLG maintain control.
But G2 are taking these fights when BLG have the numbers advantage. Caps is pushing in the bot lane, so BLG feel comfortable to take it. And you're a Ksante, yes, they got demolished, but you're not really going to get much damage onto these side lane turrets. And Hansama is the one that's footing the bill for all this.
The early laning phase is irrelevant, because once Elk and On have started to move around the map, 008, better than James Bond for that Nami, and 312, the moment that Gale Force was activated, Elk has found culling after culling and has made Hansama irrelevant in these fights.
And it's not impossible for G2 to come back, particularly given how we've seen some of the games play out. But what it does mean, you are now reliant on BLG to mess up. Because with the amount of aggressive power that they have, plus a 2 Drake lead, getting back is going to be so hard.
And look at the timing on these ultimates from James on. Every single time he's catching Hans Sama with it. And Mickey is also putting up this barrier earlier to try and block the culling. So they're kind of using this as a 1-2 punch to constantly keep G2 in check.
Beautiful play from BLG. I mean, you can feel the pressure, you can feel the tension from Hans Sama. He and the rest of G2, they are behind, but they are not yet eliminated, as we have seen so many times.
Hey,
And
15 seconds still Baron.
15 seconds to Baron. They wouldn't rush it this quick, would they? More importantly for me,
What?
a minute and a half until Infernal.
I actually wouldn't mind if they started, as long as they peel off. If they try to actually take the objective, that would not be what you want to do. I personally say if they...
Baron's up, Chronicler. The chance is there.
Okay, but if they peel off and fight them like G2 are... That's not good, okay? They need to actually commit fully.
Let's see if they do. BLG right now, happy and content to catch the waves. Teleport available for Bin, Broken Blade and Caps as well. Summoners, the Unsealed Spellbook rather, Yagao, currently sitting on Flash Cleanse. And we're a minute away from Dragon. It'll be Dragon number 3 here. In favor of BLG. For G2 Esports, push the middle wave, try to apply some pressure on the tower, and they're peeling towards Baron to get some vision set up.
Yagao on his back, just finished the Zhonya stopwatch, so will have that available for the up-and-coming fight. Flashes available across the board as well here for BLG. No flash for Hans, and he needs to stay alive if they want to actually be able to take down BLG and fight for this dragon.
Oh, actually, Mikey caught here. Elk starting to push forward. Does have to slow, but didn't want to go overly aggressive without that vision in the top side. But as long as you're able to get constant control like this for BLG through mid lane and just start to spread that vision out, it becomes harder and harder for G2 to really get into a spot where they can threaten anything. You can see they're trying to push sides and maybe move in, but BLG, they have firm control over this dragon area now. And I mean, where the hell are G2?
Well, that's the question. G2 currently recalling Broken Blade and Yike towards the top quadrant. Looking not to contest this dragon. This is the third of the game in favor of BLG. Also, itemization. You're talking 2 items for Yagao, for Alk, and only still getting towards that second for Caps and Hans Sama. G2 are behind the curve, and that's before you factor in the champion power and their current levels.
Yeah, I do think that BLG, with that back from on, thought that G2 maybe was still contested. G2 actually had backed off, so they had a window, but they didn't know. Gonna look towards that 5v5. Bin isn't here yet, but does have TP.
All right, Caps takes a little bit of damage there from Alk with that Tide Caller's Blessing. Bin's making his way from the middle lane. Winter's Bite won't find a target. The Fissure is still up. The Moonlight Vigil too. Unbreakable. That's a big cooldown. Red, white, Hans Sama's the target in this fight. Tidal Wave will not send him up, but the re-engage is good. Aqua Crescent buys some time, and Hans Sama simply cannot stay around long enough. BLG have got 1, have got 2. They are looking for the 3rd, and they're not done yet. The dragon was ignored and G2 were obliterated.
BLG are too good at getting onto Hans Sama. They blow the early cleanse, and from that point forward, Yagao still manages to get in to help Elk finish him off. Now, with Baron in their sights, BLG want to make sure that they are advancing forward.
And this time around, G2 not really in a position. Yike can go for maybe a miracle steal. But look, Yagao marking him, but making sure that he can't get close.
No ultimate, no flash, no body slam, no Baron left to play around. BLG have just accelerated this game to a point that may not be possible for G2 to come back. They still have scaling, they still have possibilities, but man, they are going to be relying on BLG being a little overeager, a little out of position. And the thing is, it is still possible, but it's so difficult for them now.
Particularly because this is a Lucian, right? It's not the Aphelios where one misstep is the difference between life and death. Lucian has so much mobility innate in his kit, and especially when combined with a Nami, actually taking down Elk, who is monstrously fed, is an almost impossible task.
Bin is on the top side of the map though, so G2 considering maybe we can make something happen. Yike maybe even look for the steal. Caps though, taking a ton of damage in the mid lane. Dragon below half HP.
I mean, 3rd item completed already. That's the Infinity Edge. Teleport being channeled here from Bin. That will at least get one of those cooldowns available. Caps, the next target of Elk. 3 items completed. 4, 1, and 4. 0, 0, 11. That Nami behind him involved in 11 of the 13 kills. BLG now, once again, continuing the pressure. Caps is the target. He's caught out. He's rooted in place. Blade of the Rune King comes out and Elk is unstoppable. Caps just gets punished for recalling around the corner.
He should never have been there. You know that BLG want to try and use this Braum buff to take towers, and he just gets completely caught out. Even when you look at the bottom side, Broken Blade and Yike were there. No one was here to defend that, so Caps knew he was going to be out on his own, and they were already gifting the tower. That quicker reset was going to give him nothing.
Additionally, Bin has gone for the Nashor's, right? So no one in the game can deal with this Gwen in a 1v1. So getting the TP, really, it's a small victory, but as long as Bin can match, the rest of the team is winning so insanely hard because they need to send multiple people just to deal with him.
And this is why BLG have been so capable of playing around this Lucian Nami, even just domestically as well. They've been so good at making sure they can play for these early skirmishes, get the early towers, start to put the pressure down, even though they weren't actually that far ahead coming out of the laning phase. It was just the fact that they were able to find these skirmishes so consistently, play around their vision, look for early dragons, and now it's G2 who's paying for those mistakes.
And this is a heartbreaking turn of events because the first 7 minutes of this game looked good. Yike was everywhere, and that Lucian Nami didn't get a chance to be unlocked. The problem is the following 17 minutes have been all BLG. They've moved around the map more effectively. They've utilized that Lucian way more effectively. And because of the power spike of their composition, G2 are now 7,000 gold down. They are down 3,500 gold to this Red Bull Baron power play. And while they still have their base to fall back to, the opportunities to claw back this 8,000 gold deficit are becoming slimmer and slimmer.
And the kicker, in 3 minutes, it's Infernal Soul, right? And as if there isn't enough global potential, BLG's composition, I would say on an even state, relies on getting a pick. They already have more than enough gold for that. But the moment that Infernal Soul comes through, a single dash forward from Elk combined with a proc from On and a W is going to chunk out everyone on G2.
And we've already seen it happen to Caps, who in theory is a tanky member on this team. Yeah, so it's not going to get any better. And BLG, they are well aware of that. Bin now taking bot lane turret. He's opted in towards the Nashor's Tooth, so definitely something that can do a lot of damage when left alone with these towers. You've got Yagao who's pushing to the top lane. He'll have his TP up in just a few moments for that dragon. And G2, they're trying to group as this 3 to 4 man unit, see if they can maybe pick people off. Even Broken Blade and Yike trying to play towards one side, but BLG just aren't giving them that opportunity to come back into it. They're aware of what happened the last time G2 got that moment against Elk.
And listen, it is going to be a big, big fight. G2 Esports with one potential last shot remaining. Elk is just dominating. 6-1 and 14, 3.5 items completed. Caps will be the next target. Gets caught in place by that Ring of Frost, by the Glacial Tomb as well. He goes all out, buys enough time for Yike to arrive. The tidal wave will hold him in place for Elk to arrive, and now's the next target. Keep in mind, 130 for Soul, 140 for Baron. While that's going on, Ben does not give a damn. He's opening up the inhibitors. The Nexus turret, the inhibitor turret has fallen already.
And that's what I was saying with the Nashor's Tooth. Gwen does so much damage to these structures. The extra attack speed is absolutely nuts. And BLG, they're drawing G2 everywhere and taking everything. BLG want to make sure that they are advancing forward and going up against the winner of Gen G and Cloud9.
It is a 10,000 gold lead. And Bilibili Gaming on the verge of eliminating G2 Esports, the last of the LEC squads. Look at this from Elk. Oh, the ward as well. Great vision toggle from the observers. Great vision toggle from the observers.
It feels safe, right? Because there's a control ward in the brush. And then there, it times out, but in time for Elk to take it down.
Oh, stuff from Elk though. I mean, yes, didn't have, or had the vision initially, but did lose it halfway through. Still able to get the core of those shots off and get the kill there. Now BLG, 30 seconds until Dragon. They already have the reset. They're already controlling so much of this river area now.
Dagda, how do they do it? Dagda, how did G2 try to find this win? Need to get Elk. Follow Elk, level 14, advantage over Hansama. 4 items completed. He's got that LDR into a BT, a Gale Force, and the BF Sword. This is an uphill battle if ever I've seen one. There's even a stopwatch next to those free-ass boots for Elk. He's a 2-level advantage Cronicler. It's going to be so hard, but it's the only way that G2 can buy some time.
Oh, but even if you kill Elk, Bin is level 16 Gwen, monster fed as well. They need a miracle here.
Let's see what they can do. Bin steps forward, snippity snip snip. Shun's gonna back away with that ultimate. The engage forward. Hansama's the target for now. Yike has been able to push Elk away, but Elk stays alive. That stopwatch is buying time. Caps looks for him and finds him, but at what cost? 3 members of G2 are down. It's all up to Broken Blade, and it's not gonna be enough. The ace for BLG.
And the mission is accomplished, but at what cost? Yes, L goes down eventually, but the stopwatch declines by so much time. And Bin says, hey, I'm here as well, and completely decimates the backline of G2.
BLG handled the laning pressure from Yike, and the challenge from G2 Esports, and BLG will eliminate G2 from MSI. BLG advanced to the next stage in their lower bracket run towards finals.
BLG will take down the